Check 1-2, radio check. Still. From the bottom to the corner, lane up through the triangle. Not sure why we did that. I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody get to the bottom. Maybe we should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down. Everybody split up right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs are live with his current sponsor will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland is Garland leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done.
When it's time to fix it, find it, or upgrade it, trust the experts. At M&M Auto Parts, we've got over 150,000 parts in stock and ready for delivery. And for the hands-on builders and bargain hunters, stop by Rupert's You Pull It, where we give you the freedom to pull the parts yourself and save big. Visit any one of our 3 locations in Virginia, or visit us online at mmauto.com to browse our grand inventory. With over 60 years of experience, when it comes to auto parts, we know how to pick them. Don't wait. Race on down to your nearest M&M Auto Parts location, or find us on the web and give us a shout. M&M Auto, family-owned, quality parts.
Woo! Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening. These drivers get ready to go to battle. They get ready to duke it out here this evening for what is going to be another amazing show of racing action as each and every driver ready to try to put themselves up and into victory lane as the Todd Cooper Landscaping 300 here from Kansas Speedway is about to get underway. As my boy Kevin, Timmy, what's good, Kev? Kevin in the chat says, let's go, baby. Coming in with that thumbs up as well, showing the love here in this one. Rodney Stewart, what's good? Hot Rod. Rodney in the chat as well says, Peacemaker. Says, what's up, Rodney? How are you, mister? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful, wonderful day as we get ready to set these drivers loose. Qualifying coming to an end, so that means we will get them locked and loaded here for our main feature event. Anne Marie in the chat as well says, woo! Says, let's go, James Garland. Cheering on James here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hit the thumbs up button for us right now. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you jump into the comment section. Let us know who you want to see pick up the win here today. Who do you want to see in victory lane as these drivers will get loaded up on the front straightaway? They'll get ready to rumble. They'll get ready to go to battle for what will be 125 laps of racing action. We will have 2 stage breaks, so we will have drivers have their stage break at the end, the completion of lap number 30, and the completion of lap number, I do believe, let me get this right, I do believe at the end of lap number 60 as well. As we'll take a look here at our crew chief breakdown. Let's move that over a little bit. All right, so our crew chief breakdown here this evening for the Todd Cooper Landscaping 300 here this evening is get a good look here at what these drivers are going to have to deal with, where they're going to have to be as Kansas State here for this race. It is a 1.5 mile speedway, pit road speed 45 miles. That'll be very interesting if drivers got to start making green flag pit stops, and it's going to be very, very questionable. They can make about 28-30 laps to a tank of fuel, and you take a look at these stages, you know, that 30 to 60 lap area. I think we're going to see a lot of these drivers, if we stay clean and green, they're going to have to make these pit stops before the stage breaks. They, you know, maybe they stretch the fuel up, maybe they can go a little bit farther, maybe they can make it there to those stage breaks, but they got to make sure they can make it, you know, another lap or 2 under yellow before they can come down pit side. Only 1 quick repair and only 3 sets of tires makes it very, very tough to have to try and come back from. So that's going to be interesting to see how these drivers are going to be able to kind of rebound from that, as well as let's take a look at the penalty breakdown. There are some penalties here this evening as well. So Corey Crowell will get an EOL. He'll go to the end of the longest line on the initial start here this evening. Brandon Puffenbarger, 10-second black flag hold on the initial start. For Devan Black, looks like end of the longest line for him as well. Tyler Humphrey, a 30-second black flag hold on the initial start. James Garland, a 30-second black flag hold on the initial start. And Anthony Garland also getting that initial race start 30-second black flag hold as well. So we're going to see a lot of these cats having to, you know, serve these penalties, come down pit road, serve these penalties, and unfortunately that's going to make their days very, very tough, very, very long, and it's going to make it tough for them to try to battle back from here in this one. As we'll get them all stacked up, as they're stacking up here, as we'll get them ready to rock and roll here. It is Tyler Humphrey who starts in that pole position. Cameron Combs will start in second. Brandon Puffenbarger, Corey Crowell there in third and fourth. So 3 of our top 4 drivers will have to serve black flag penalties down pit side to start this race. As here we go, ending all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here at Kansas Speedway. Green flag is into the air. Tyler Humphrey leads us down through 1 and out of 2, but he knows he's got to get set up here. He's got to come down pit road. So doesn't Crowell. So doesn't Puffenbarger. They're going to have to make their way down pit side. You look back at Anthony Garland, Devan Black, I do believe Casey Gross, James Garland, they all going to come down pit road here. So we're about to see 6 drivers. 6 or 7 drivers have to come down pit side here. There's Casey's black flag. He's going to come around next time, looks like. But we do see Puffenbarger, Tyler Humphrey, Corey Crowell, Anthony Garland, James Garland, all heading down pit road, all about to pull into their pit stalls and have to serve their penalties. Now that's tough news for them. Great news for the rest of the field as Cameron Combs has the race lead. He's out in front. Now he's kind of on cruise control. A lot of very good competition is down pit side. A lot of good competition is serving their penalties down pit road right now. And if you're Tyler Humphrey, if you're Puffenbarger, James Garland, Anthony Garland, you've now lost a lap. You're a lap down. For Corey Crowell, he's trying to stay on the lead lap, but there goes our race leader around him. Now he's able to get lined up with them, so we'll have to wait and see if he can try to race his way back onto the lead lap. If not, he is currently in that free pass position, so that could be a good spot there for that 2 rider Corey Crowell. So that could be a great break for him. James Garland able to get released, and unfortunately long black flag holds here for Humphrey, Puffenbarger, and Anthony Garland. They are still down pit side. Unfortunately, they've now lost 2 laps here to our race leaders. This is going to make things so tough here for those drivers, man. They're going to either need a lot of caution flags or a lot of things to go their way to try to get them back into the battle, back into the action as Cameron Combs continues to lead it. It's Chris Muse who sits in second. Grant Humphrey there in third, with Caleb McKinney running out our top 4. Rob Tuwiscu in the 5th position with Nicholas Barton, Al Reed, Kurt Sponsler Jr., Josh Bromfield and Johnny Thunders rounding out our top 10 in his Quantum Motorsports number 60 ride. Mike Killing back there in 11 with Edward Belair, Gary Wright, Billy Jordan there in 14th. Devan Black in that 15th position. Then we see Wayne Garland in the 84, the 77 of Casey Gross in the first car, one lap down, trying to get himself back on the lead lap. Is that 2 right of Corey Crowell? So Crowell showing that he's got a bit of a fast hot rod here this evening, and that could be a great break for some of the drivers that are already a lap down or multiple laps down in this race. If Crowell can keep himself on the lead lap, if he can stay in front of that 15 ride, it could really help him out late in this race. And through a lot of these other drivers, you look back at the Pool Boy, Ghost Energy, Dark Horse Motorsports ride, that 37 of James Garland. He is the first driver 2 laps down out there on the speedway right now, and technically with Corey Crowell being in front of our race leaders, he's the first driver a lap down at all out there on the racetrack, and he's in line for the first lucky dog here as long as no one else loses a lap there on the speedway, or as long as he doesn't see Tyler Humphrey catch him and pass him out there on the racetrack. Anthony Garland, he's back there as well. Unfortunately for Anthony, I do believe he is now 3 laps down in the 81. For Brandon Puffenbarger, he's like 3 or 4 laps down here, so he's in a really tough spot as well here today. So a lot of drivers obviously getting those penalties. That is not a fun time. That is not a thing that you want to have to deal with, and especially if you're one of our playoff competitors, to have those penalties, to have those issues, and put yourself into a position where you're behind the 8 ball and you're back there. You're stuck in a tough spot out there on the racetrack. It is not fun. It is not fun. It is not a good time, and unfortunately, these laps get clicked off in a quick hurry, and things can go wrong for you in a quick hurry as well. So unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lot of these drivers that are just going to be hoping to see a bunch of caution flags, hoping for a bunch of yellows, or hoping that somehow or another they can try and somewhat find an extra little bit of speed or a little bit of luck and trying to race their way back on the lead lap here early in this race. So that's some of the early craziness that these drivers have had to deal with. Is out in front, leading the way, it's Cameron Combs. Combs just sitting pretty here. He's got a little bit of a gap between himself and the 99 ride of Chris Muse. Caleb McKinney back there in position number 3 with Rob Tuwisku there in position number 4. Grant Humphrey rounding out the top 5 here as the 48 rolls in that 5th position with Al Reed and Nicholas Barton, our top 7. Kurt Sponsler there in 8th with Mike Killing back in. Josh Bromfield trying to hang on to that 10th position here. Bromfield in the Outcast Racing League Poor Boy Motorsports in number 12 ride there in that 10th position right now, as Thunders and Belair right there behind him. Billy Jordan looking to have himself a good day here at this speedway as he rolls there in position number 13. Gary Wright back behind him is currently scored in 14th. Devan Black in the Hooters ride rolls in that 15th position. Casey Gross, Wayne Garland rounding out our lead lap cars here. Well, technically Corey Crowell is, but Crowell's got to be very cautious. He may have been using up some of those tires, maybe running a little bit harder than what some of these other cats are around him. And if you're the 2 ride, you got to be worried not only about falling a lap down here to Cameron Combs, but if you're using up too much of your stuff, if you're burning up too much equipment, it could still put you way back here by the end of this stage. And for these drivers, you know, they're still early on here. Down and across the line this time for that Reese's number 15 machine of Cameron Combs. Down across the line, Combs will click off the 12th lap here of this race. So only 12 laps in, still 18 laps left to go here in stage number 1. So this is just our first stage of the day. Now we will see that caution flag come out at the end of the stage. If you're Corey Crowell, you do fall a lap down. At least you could be in that lucky dog position if Crowell can keep himself on the lead lap, though. It hands that free pass to James Garland. Garland will get a lap back. That'll put him from, you know, being 2 laps down to now 1 lap down. That's a great spot for him here, but he's got to really try to keep himself in this lucky dog position. If Crowell loses a lap, it hurts him, but if he doesn't, it helps him and could help bring him back on to, you know, closer to, you know, lead lap and back into the battle. If you're the Must Love Poodles number 9 rider, Tyler Humphrey, one of our championship hopefuls, you're trying to drive up here. You're trying to drive the wheels off this 9 ride, try to catch up to that 37 machine of James Garland and put yourself into what could be that lucky dog spot if he wants to try to get himself back into the action. For Anthony Garland now being 3 laps down, and for Brandon Puffenbarger, I do believe being 3 or 4 laps down out there on the racetrack. Very, very tough spot there for the 5 ride here this evening. And for a lot of those drivers, that's just what you got to be cautious about when it comes to any of these races. Even if you're admin or not, you got to make sure you don't put yourself into a position that you're causing accidents and you're earning those black flags, because those can take your championship hopes away from you in a quick hurry. But looking to take the race lead away from Cameron Combs, it's the 99 of Chris Muse. Muse looking for the race lead as he works down to the inside here on Cameron Combs. Combs looking and hoping to try to hold him off. But for the 99 ride of Chris Muse, here he comes, storming down to the inside. They got Caleb McKinney right there with him. McKinney's trying to poke his nose into this battle for the race lead, and for Rob Tuwisku, not too far away from that battle as well, as the Elite Sim Racing rides right now sitting in first, fourth, and that 6th and 7th position. So the Elite Sim Racing team having another good run, having another good race here this evening. 2 drivers inside the top 5 and all 4 inside the top 7. They're feeling pretty A-okay as of right now, and if they can keep this for the most part clean and green, only get those caution flags at the end of these stages, it could really be make or break for them. But you do see that 2 ride, Corey Crowell, he's going to pull it away here from our race leaders. Now, I'm not sure if Crowell's just a little bit more on the gas, if he's trying to be a little bit more aggressive here, trying to keep himself on the lead lap this evening, knowing that he wants to make sure that he is a part of this battle and making sure that he can be a part of this fight for the win this evening, especially showing that he's got some good speed out of this 2 ride, and if he can just keep himself alive, keep himself out of trouble, this 2 machine may be a car to deal with late in this race if he can rebound from that early black flag. So he continues to keep himself just in front of our race leaders, Cameron Combs, Caleb McKinney, and now Chris Muse, who slides back into 3rd here. So the pass was just not quite, successful for the 99 ride. Unfortunately, kind of got him out of shape there a little bit and slid him back now into that 3rd position. So he'll have to try to rebound, try to find his way back around the Overton 76 and try to see if he can go back after Cameron Combs for the race lead. Is down across the line. 19 laps completed, as I do see Josh Bromfield running into some issues here. Where is Mr. Bromfield? There's Bromfield. Looks like he's slow on the racetrack. Let's play this back and take a look at it. So Bromfield is down to corner 2, gets loose, washes down the racetrack, trying to keep himself out of the inside fence. Does a great piece of driving to keep himself out of the fence. He's got to lock it down. He gets rolling, though. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green. But for the Boy Motorsports number 12 ride, man, that was a close call right there for him. Luckily enough, able to hang on to it and keep that thing rolling. No major damage, and able to continue to battle here this evening. So that's a great break there for that number 12 ride. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, so if you guys are experiencing lagginess or anything else, let us know in the chat here. Let us know in the comments section. I do see that there is some skipped frames. Not 100% sure on what the cause of that is. I do know that over the last few days, I've had a ton of PC things that I've had to do and a ton of things that I've had to try to fix here to try to get Streamlabs to work fine, to get iRacing to actually even work. We missed most of our broadcasts on Wednesday. We had to miss a broadcast on what was that, Friday, because of iRacing and it not downloading and everything else, and now Streamlabs yesterday was messing with us. We had to do everything there. A lot of different things here. We've been going through some PC issues, and I do see some skip frames here throughout the broadcast right now, about 4%. I'll keep a close eye on that. If it does start to act up even more, we may have to start to restart the stream, maybe see if we can change some things in iRacing to try to clean things up. Maybe we try to turn some things down, make it easier on the CPU, because we've been using a lot more CPU usage over the last little while compared to everything else. Maybe we can throw this into performance mode. Maybe that will help it out a little bit more as well. trying to do everything we can to make sure things run smoothly, things run fine, and that you guys don't have to worry too much about, what's going on and how things are rolling here, and just trying to bring you guys the best picture and best broadcast that we can. I don't know why that number keeps going up. We don't want skip frames as Cameron Combs continues to lead the way. Cameron out in front, has the race lead. He is feeling A-okay. He is looking really, really stout here this evening. Man, we didn't have any skip frames yesterday. Why is it doing it now, chat? Why is it doing it now? Why does everything have to go wrong for us this last week, man? Everything's just been going wrong, headed the wrong direction, and it's just been messing with us here, man. I'm about ready to yeet my PC right out the window. As Cameron Combs, Caleb McKinney, Chris Muse, 1, 2, and 3 out there on the speedway. Grant Humphrey rolls there in 4th. Kurt Sponsler rounding out our top 5 here in this one as Al Reed sits there in that 6th position. Nicholas Barton having himself a strong day here this evening in that 22 as Barton now rolls his way up and into that 7th position. The Shaw Landscaping ride looking really, really strong here this evening. Up and into 7th. He's got Edward Belair back behind him there in 8th. Mike Killingbeck, Robert Tuwiscu rounding out our top 10 as Rob's been falling back here quite a bit. And for Bomber, that is not the way that you want to trend here late in these runs. As Billy Jordan, Johnny Thunders, Devin Black, Casey Gross, and Gary Wright, our top 15. Josh Bromfield, who we saw almost go around and bringing out our first caution flag of the day, rolls back in that 16th position. Wayne Garland there in 17th. Unfortunately, I do believe Wayne has went a lap down here, or at least he's very close to potentially losing a lap. Corey Crowell still just in front of our race leader, so I think Crowell is very, very close to potentially losing a lap here. So isn't Wayne Garland. Wayne has been falling backwards, but if he can keep himself on the lead lap, that's a great break for him. But the battle that we're really looking at is the 9 and the 37. 84 trying to help him out a little bit here. Wayne Garland, James Garland, the 9 ride though with Tyler Humphrey trying to move himself into that lucky dog position. And it looks like Humphrey will move himself into that lucky dog spot. So that's a great break there for Tyler Humphrey as James Garland will fall in behind him. And with the laps continue to click down, we do see Caleb McKinney and Chris Muse both able to get around Cameron Combs. Combs slides back into that 3rd position. McKinney up into the top spot here. Chris Muse there in 2nd. We're only 2 laps away from seeing this stage come to a close. Corey Crowell still in front of our race leader, trying to keep himself on the lead lap for Tyler Humphrey. This could be a big break, and the lucky dog to him could put him back into position. At least gain a couple lucky dogs here. Currently, he's the first driver 2 laps down. This stage break can't come quick enough for him as our race leaders down across the line. Only 1 lap left to go here in this stage. So 1 lap left to go to duke it out here. If you're Caleb McKinney, if you're Chris Muse, you know that there's only 1 lap left here in this stage. We see Muse get a piece of that corner 2 fence, able to keep it pointed the right direction, able to keep it rolling as the 76. Yoverton's ride of Caleb McKinney. Nice and easy out of 4 and back down across the line. He will win stage number 1 here this evening. So Caleb McKinney wins the first stage of the day. Chris Muse will come home in 2nd. Cameron Combs there in 3rd. Grant Humphrey and Kurt Sponsler rounding out our top 5 here in the stage, with Al Reed back in 6th. Edward Belair in 7th. Nicholas Barton, Mike Killingbeck, and Johnny Thunders, the top 10 here in our first stage of the day. Corey Crowell does keep himself on the lead lap. That's a great break there for Crowell, and a great break for Tyler Humphreys that will put him into the lucky dog position. That'll open up the door for him to have the wave around in the lucky dog to get back into the racing action here this evening. And that is a wonderful, wonderful break there for that beautiful number 9 ride. As we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. It's out in front. Feeling fine, feeling A-okay. Is that 76 of Caleb McKinney, man? McKinney, he's been stout. And now we do see Cameron Combs. Oh, my gosh. It looks like Combs may be out of gas. Combs down pit side. The 15 ride, I think, is out of fuel. He's also received a black flag, either entering pit road while it was closed or potentially speeding down pit side, but looks like he's trying to use the starter here just to get this thing rolling down the straightaway to try and get him down pit road. That is a heartbreaker there for the 15 ride, and now we will see everyone else looking like they're going to come down pit road. So for Caleb McKinney, Chris Muse, Grant Humphrey, and everyone else on the lead lap, they're working their way down pit road. And for Cameron Combs, he's still down pit side. Unfortunately, though, he can't get there. He's going to go a lap down, but he does get some help here. Looks like his teammate Al Reed's going to pick him up here, and Al Reed's going to push him down the pit lane and into his pit stall. So luckily having some teammates here to try to help you out, to try to keep you in this race and in this battle. Al Reed's going to shoot him down here and hope that he gets into his pit stall, giving him enough time. It does look like Casey Gross. Casey may have received a black flag here as well down pit side. Coming down pit road, looks like something may have went wrong here for the 77. He misjudging things, and looks like he's going to receive a black flag as well. It's Caleb McKinney, though. First car out of pit road. Here comes Chris Muse, Grant Humphrey, Kurt Sponsler, Edward Belair. Our top five now for this restart. Mike Killingbeck, Nicholas Barton, Johnny Thunders, Josh Bromfield, Devin Black. Our top 10 getting ready for this restart. Billy Jordan, Gary Wright, Wayne Garland, Corey Crowell, Rob Tuisku, our top 15. As Al Reed will come out in the 16th position now. Casey Gross, looks like he may have to serve that penalty down pit road. He scored back in 17th. Cameron Combs, he rolls back out there in the 18th position. Now a lap down. Tyler Humphrey does get the lucky dog, the free pass. He is back to one lap down. So after serving that penalty early in this race for the 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey, this is a great rebound. This is a great comeback there for that 9 ride to get himself back into the action here this evening. Going from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. Him and Cameron Combs are probably going to have to duke it out here. This is going to be a tight battle between the two of them for that free pass position. So have to keep a close eye on them. James Garland still 2 laps down here in that 37 ride. So that's a heartbreaker there for James Garland. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see where he gets lined up for that one, as Anthony Garland and Brandon Puffenbarger, unfortunately still, I do believe, 3 laps down for both of those drivers, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back. The green flag racing is stage number 2 about to get underway here. Stage number 2 about to get started for these drivers, meaning another opportunity, another chance to potentially put themselves up and into victory lane here this evening. Man, that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a great time here for these drivers. It's going to be an absolute amazing, amazing show here this evening, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, as here we go back to green flag racing here in this one. It's Must Love Poodles in the chat. Must Love Poodles in the chat says Poodles number 9 cheered on the 9 ride, but right now you may want to cheer on that number 48 as well as Grant Humphrey. They're in second. Humphreys looking good here this evening. Obviously for Grant, he's rolling in second. He's feeling A-OK. If you're Tyler Humphrey, you're hoping for more, good work here, as we do see Cameron Combs having to come back down pit side here, serving a black flag down pit road. Unfortunately, that is going to put Cameron Combs, I do believe, another lap down. And for Cameron Combs, he now falls 2 laps down. This is another playoff driver running into an issue down pit side here in this race, and this is potentially going to have major playoff implications if you're that 15 ride of Cameron Combs. You're now 2 laps down. Tyler Humphrey in line for the lucky dog here. You're going to be in a battle with James Garland, Anthony Garland, Brandon Puffenbarger, trying to get yourself back on the lead lap, trying to get yourself back into the action, as here comes Puffenbarger down pit side. Looks like he had stayed out. Looks like he's been trying to, get some laps back here. I think that Anthony Garland kind of on the same page here as well. He's probably going to have to come down pit road here rather quickly unless we see a caution flag come out. I think that's where we saw Puffenbarger and Anthony Garland. They both took the wave arounds. They both took the free passes here. to get a lap back, but I think they both may be giving that back up right here because there we go. We see him down pit side. Our race leader's back around them, so that does put the 5 right of Puffenbarger back to 3 laps down here for Anthony Garland. He's back down pit side. I do believe as he's down pit road, our race leaders are going to pass him. That will once again put him 3 laps down out there on the racetrack. So they're just trying to hope for a quick caution flag there off that restart. An opportunity to pit during the yellow there, and unfortunately they did not get it, having to make an additional green flag pit stop. Never a fun time as we see Caleb McKinney, Grant Humphrey, and Chris Muse continuing to lead the way here. Our top 3 feeling A-okay here in this one. As Must Love Poodle says, Grant is rocking and rolling. Yes, he is. Grant is rocking and rolling. Is that Must Love Poodles? Number 48, Ryan rolling there in that second position, but here comes Muse trying to reel him in. Edward Belair, heck of a run here for Edward Belair. He rolls in that 4th position. Kurt Sponsler right there in the 5th spot with Mike Killingbeck, Rob Tuwiscu, Nicholas Barton still inside the top 10 there in that beautiful 22 ride as he works to the outside of Rob Tuwiscu here for 7th. Devin Black right there in 9th, and Corey Crowell back on the lead lap here, back into the battle. The K-West group, that Mars Racing League machine, they're in that 10th position. So looking for a big rebound day for that 2 ride. He's been able to race his way back on a lead lap and now trying to battle his way up through the top 10 here, trying to get back into the battle for the race win here this evening. Johnny Thunders, Wayne Garland, Billy Jordan, and Al Reed, Josh Bromfield, our top 15 out there on the speedway. Gary Wright, Casey Gross, our top 17, with Tyler Humphrey being the first driver 1 lap down. So for Tyler Humphrey, first car 1 lap down out there on the speedway. It's James Garland who sits back in 19th. Cameron Combs in 20th. Unfortunately for James Garland and Cameron Combs, they're both 2 laps down here. Brandon Puffenbarger, he finds himself 3 laps down, back in the 21st position with Anthony Garland there in 22nd. Also, I do believe 3 laps down. Not a fun place to be, as out in front, a very fun spot to be, is our race leader. And for Caleb McKinney, man, he's just been pulling farther and farther away from the rest of these guys. I'm not sure if it's going to come down to fuel savings again, like we kind of saw there towards the end of that first stage. I think for a lot of these drivers, you're really going to be keeping an eye on that fuel gauge, making sure that you leave yourself enough time that where if you make it clean and green to the end of this stage, that you still got enough fuel in the tank that you get to take it easy for a lap or 2 before hitting pit side under the caution there for the stage break. So for a lot of these drivers, that's going to be in the back of their mind of what they need to do, and that's really going to open up the door here, I think, too, for late in this race. When we go back to green flag racing, it'll be interesting to see where we go back after that second stage. If it's only, 2 or 3 laps under yellow, that's going to give these drivers, 30-plus lap runs to try and get to the end of this race. So I think even the second stage is going to require maybe 2 pit stops for some. Others may try to stretch the fuel out and hope that they can make it on only a 1 pit stop race, but that is a very dangerous game to play, as tire fall off and everything else will make things very, very interesting. Humphrey at it again, he says. Humphrey is at it again, as Kevin Timmy says, someone hand our broadcaster a Red Bull. Yes, someone please shoot me a Monster, a Red Bull. I got a Monster on the go right now, actually. Damn, that is refreshing. That is refreshing, as Caleb McKinney, though, out in front. Kurt Sponsler Jr. racing his way potentially up into second here, looking to make the move around Grant Humphrey. Grant's going to slide back into third as Kurt Sponsler in that Pool Boy Motorsports ride up and into position number 2 on the racetrack. Edward Belair now looking to go after that number 48, and you take a look right here behind him. That's the 9 rider, Tyler Humphrey. Humphrey showing that he's got a ton of speed in this Must Love Poodles ride. He had gotten the free pass, the lucky dog, going from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. That's currently where he sits. He is 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, but he's worked his way through the field. He's worked his way basically up into what would be right now the 4th position on the speedway. If he can gain a couple more spots here, a couple more passes, he could potentially race his way back on the lead lap. So that could be something here as he's looking to go after his twin brother, Grant Humphrey. Kurt Sponsler right there in front of him. A bit of a gap, almost 2 seconds now between first and second, as Caleb McKinney with a 2-second lead here this evening in this second stage. And for Caleb McKinney, he's hoping to win stage 1 and looking to win stage number 2 here this evening, as these drivers continue to put on an absolutely amazing show, an absolutely amazing race for us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't done it already for us, make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream for us right now. Hit the like button, hit the share button, share it off to your Discord, share it off to your friends' Discords, share it to your Facebook page or Twitter, share it to wherever you can. Get your friends, your family, and more racing fans in here to enjoy the amazing racing here with the Outcast Racing League, as Caleb McKinney, Kurt Sponsler, 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack. As Kevin Timmy says, Muse back to 17th. Yeah, unfortunately here, looks like Muse falling backwards. That's a bit of an odd one right there. He was up battling, got second in that first stage, but now kind of riding back here in that 17th position. You gotta wonder, if you're the 99 rider, Chris Muse, what's the game plan here? Maybe just on older tires. I feel like maybe that could be the chance here for the 99 rider, Chris Muse. I feel like a lot of drivers, though, did not throw tires on during that first stage break. Some definitely did, others did not, and that could make for a totally different ball game. But I think potentially for the 99, just knows he's not going to get stage points, knows that fuel could become an issue here coming closer to the end of this stage. So I think for Chris Muse, he's kind of just rolling out of it, knowing that, you know, there's still a lot of laps left to go here, but pit stops could be on the horizon for some of these other drivers. When you look up at Caleb McKinney, when you look at Kurt Sponsler, Edward Belair, Grant Humphrey, for a lot of these drivers, you know, they may have to make green flag pit stops before the end of this stage 2 break, especially with how hard they've been running here in this feature event. And running that hard, running that many fast laps, it could definitely cause them to have to come down pit road. And I think for Chris Muse, maybe just be on the ball game here to try to save fuel, and hope that it can put him into a position that if everyone in front of him has to make a pit stop for the end of the stage, he may be sitting pretty here at the end of it, as Caleb McKinney continues to lead the way. First time in a little bit we've seen a driver within 2 seconds of his back bumper, as Sponsler now only about 1.9 seconds back of our race leader. Edward Belair up and into 3rd. Grant Humphrey now falls back into 4th. Corey Crowell there in that 5th position with Mike Killingbeck, Nicholas Barton, Devin Black, Al Reed, and Rob Tuwiscu rounding out the top 10. Johnny Thunder's there in 11th with Gary Wright, Billy Jordan, Josh Bromfield, and Casey Gross, our top 15. That's where we see Wayne Garland and that 99er Chris Muse back in the 16th and 17th position out there on the speedway. And for Tyler Humphrey, first driver 1 lap down, even though he's raced his way up into what would be I believe right now the 3rd position on the speedway. He's only got 2 drivers on the lead lap in front of him, which is Kurt Sponsler and Caleb McKinney. And for the 9 rod, the Must Love Poodles machine, showing he's got some good speed, some great pace out of that number 9 rod here this evening. And if we see this stage come to an end, he is in line for the lucky dog, the free pass to get back on the lead lap. So that could be a great break there for him, as Chris Muse and Wayne Garland, they're hoping to keep themselves on the lead lap here. They only got about 6 laps left to go here, 5-6 laps left before the end of this stage break, and they have a pretty sizable gap still between themselves and our race leader, Caleb McKinney, so I don't think they're going to have to worry about going a lap down here today, as Caleb McKinney down across the line, going to click off 55 laps. That means we only have 5 laps left to go here in stage number 2. 5 laps left here in this stage, and I think for a lot of drivers, that fuel strategy, it is starting to fire up on all cylinders here. I think a lot of drivers are either going to start to come down pit road or try to stretch it as far as possible. But if you want to try to maybe get something out of the day, maybe try to earn a little bit of stage points, it may be worth the gamble, the risk to try to stay out until the end of this stage and hope that you don't lose a lap or run out of fuel during that cool down lap or two. As Caleb McKinney, Kurt Sponsler still sit 1 and 2, but McKinney has backed down the pace here. He was out in front over 2 seconds. That gap has shrunk now to about 1.4 seconds between himself and Kurt Sponsler Jr. Edward Belair right there as well in that 3rd position. Grant Humphrey back in 4th. Corey Crowell, who we saw go a lap down early in this race after receiving that black flag, having to come down pit road on the opening laps here for the 2 Ryan, win a lap down, race his way back on the lead lap though, stayed on the lead lap at the end of the stage, able to tag on to the tail end of the field. Here he is racing his way up inside the top 5. So it seems like for Corey Crowell, for the 9 rider Tyler Humphrey, they got a couple really fast cars here this evening, and they could definitely be threats for the win late in this race as McKinney down across the line will click off lap number 58, and it's 2 laps left to go here. So it looks like maybe everyone's going to try to stretch it either at least another lap or 2 to try to get to the end of the stage. But like we saw in that first stage, there were a couple drivers, including our 3rd place driver in the stage, the 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs went a lap down after that stage break, ran out of fuel, could not make it down to his pit stall, was virtually stopped on pit road, and unfortunately had to get one of his teammates to virtually push him into his pit stall down pit side, but it was already damage dealt for the 15 as he had lost the lap. He had then gotten a black flag down pit side, so had to make a pass-through penalty at the start of this stage with another lap down, and he sits 2 laps down right now in a very, very difficult spot. He may even be more than 2 laps down. He may actually be 3 laps down. He's very close to it. Very, very close to 3 laps down here. James Garland still 2 laps down, but Tyler Humphrey sitting in the lucky dog position should be able to get it. Is down and across the line. Sweeping the stages is the Overton 76 of Caleb McKinney. McKinney picks up stage win number 1 and stage win number 2 here this evening as Kurt Sponsler Jr. will come home in 2nd. Edward Belair there in 3rd. Grant Humphrey and Corey Crowell are top 5 there in the stage. Mike Killingbeck, Devan Black, Al Reed, Nicholas Barton, and Rob Tuwisku will round out the top 10 there in the 2nd stage of the day. But now it'll be the question time. Can drivers make it to the end of this run right here? They got to get lined up. They got to get kind of back together with this pace car and roll down to pace car speed in hopes that they do not run out of fuel. Like we saw for that 15 Ryan, is we're going to get them all down pit side. They're all going to get some work done to their race cars, and they're going to get ready to go back to battle. They're going to get ready to duke it out once again here this evening. And I do believe, yes, looking at the scoreboard, the first driver 1 lap down was this Muscle of Poodles number 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey. So Humphrey will get the lucky dog, the free pass back on the lead lap, back into the action here this evening. And for this 9 ride back into the battle, back into the mix here this evening is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be an absolute great thing here for that number 9 machine. As Tyler Humphrey, you'll have to stay out. Everyone else will come down pit road, so that's going to make things very interesting. As Must Love Poodle says, great racing, Humphrey twins. Cheer it on the Humphrey twins here this evening, as we did see Grant Humphrey come home 4th there in that stage break for Tyler Humphrey. Now back on lead lap. Great break there for him. As Grant Humphrey, Crowell, every one of our lead lap drivers are down pit road. You'll see James Garland, Cameron Combs. Here comes Brandon Puffenbarger, also down pit side. Looks like Anthony Garland may stay out here once again, hoping to see a quick caution flag here as we go back to green flag racing, as he'll get the wave around. He'll get a lap back. He'll go from being 3 laps down to 2 laps down, which is a lot more manageable, especially if you can catch another caution flag. Get yourself back into the mix. Get a free pass down pit side as Tyler Humphrey Now back on lead lap. We did at one point have about 4 or 5 drivers a lap down. We now go to actually only 4 drivers, 2 laps or better down now in this one, as there were more. We've seen Tyler Humphrey 2 laps down. We saw that 2 right of Corey Crowell a lap down. But right now we have Cameron Combs, James Garland, Anthony Garland, and Brandon Puffenbarger all multiple laps down here getting ready for this restart, as Caleb McKinney will keep that race lead. Edward Belair will stay in second with Kurt Sponsler, Corey Crowell, and Grant Humphrey, our top 5 here for the restart. Billy Jordan back in 6th with L. Reed. Joey Thunders, Gary Wright, and Nicholas Barton are top 10 here for the restart. Rob Tuisku, Chris Muse, Mike Killingback, Devan Black, Josh Bromfield, Wayne Garland, Tyler Humphrey, and Casey Gross rounding out our top 18, all still on the lead lap here this evening. So our top 18 on the lead lap in this battle, in this action, and they're going to get ready to go back to duking it out here in just a couple more moments, as we do get them stacked up door to door, ready to go back to battle here this evening. Who will get it done? Who will put themselves up and into victory lane here this evening? As out in front, the Overton 76 of Caleb McKinney has looked really, really strong here this evening. It took him some time. He started back in about the 12th position, so it took him a little bit of time to race his way up here to the race lead, but once he's gotten it, he has not looked back. And for a lot of these drivers, we see a lot of big movers out there. You look back at Edward Belair, who's in second. Belair, he's up 12 positions. You look at Kurt Sponsler there in third. He's up 13 spots on the racetrack. We have multiple drivers that are plus double digits from where they started. But the race is not over yet. They can still fall back or drive themselves forward to make that differential that much better. As here we go back to green flag racing as Caleb McKinney down and through 1 and 2. He tries to stretch out that lead once again, hoping to put some distance between himself and that 49 of Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler right back up into that second spot on the racetrack, but here comes Corey Crowell. Crowell right into the mix here. So from a lap down, racing his way back onto the lead lap, getting those couple stage breaks and getting him tied back up here with the drivers at the front of the field. And here he is navigating his way right into the middle of the battle for the race lead. Edward Belair does slide back into 4th with Al Reed there in 5th. The 48 of Humphrey there in 6th with, you're right, Rob Tuisku, Billy Jordan, and now Johnny Thunders and Killingback battling door to door for that 10th spot on the Speedway. Barton falls back to 12th. As we look back here, we see Chris Muse. You see that 9 right of Tyler Humphrey. They are looking to try to work their way back up and through the field here. We'll have to wait and see how quickly they navigate through the traffic and if they can put themselves right back into the middle of the battle at the front of the field here in this one, as it looked like everybody that had come down pit road there, that last pit stop, it put tires on. Everyone is running really, really good lap times right now. Everyone is finding some great speed out of their race cars, but I think for the big part, it's going to be who can take care of their equipment. We haven't really seen a caution flag for issue or any wrecks out there on the racetrack so far here this evening, and that really brings into the question mark here. Will we be able to make it clean and green throughout this race without any major caution flags to really bust this thing open? That's going to be a great break for the lead lap drivers, for the guys that are multiple laps down. When you look back here at James Garland, Cameron Combs, Anthony Garland, Brandon Puffenbarger, that puts them into a very, very difficult position. And if you're Anthony Garland, you're probably going to have to come down pit road here in a quick hurry. I think probably close to the next time by the start finish line, we may see this 81 of Anthony Garland come down pit road. It's going to be tough there for that 81 ride to have to go back to 3 laps down here. He's been trying this strategy, staying out, getting the wave around, at least getting a lap back, and hoping to see some more yellow flags quickly to get himself back into the action, and he's almost a part of it right there. Hang on to it. I do believe that was the 14 of Billy Jordan, and his Quantum Motorsports ride almost going for a loop right there. Luckily enough, able to catch it, keep his car pointed in the right direction. No caution flag, but that was a very, very close one. Anthony Garland ended up getting a piece of that as well. I think he really wanted to see that 14 ride go around, just not right in front of him, to try to get that yellow flag that he's been looking for. And I think this is going to force his hand to probably navigate his way down pit side here. Looks like he's going to at least do another lap. We'll keep a close eye there on that Poor Boy Motorsports number 81 machine. But here we go. Out in front, Kurt Sponsler Jr. looking for the race lead. Caleb McKinney doesn't have anything for him, or not wanting to push that car this early in this run. So he kind of backs out of it, allows the 49 to jump out to the race lead. He'll get settled in back behind him here. Down and out of corner number 4 is Kurt Sponsler Jr. will lead lap number 71 here this evening. He leads the 71st lap of this race. It moves Caleb McKinney back into second. You see Corey Crowell right there in the mix. Here comes Edward Belair. Here comes Al Reed in the 3 machine as well, back in that 5th position. Grant Humphrey falls back into 6th, but I think for Grant Humphrey, he's been running a lot less off the pace than a lot of the drivers up in front of him. So I really think that for the 48 rider, Grant Humphrey, he's been trying to save fuel. He's been trying to save tire here. I feel a lot more aggressively than the drivers that are around him. And I think that could pay dividends late in this race as Rob Tuiscu now working down to his inside. Here comes Gary Wright. Here comes the 70 of Mike Killing back in now, rounding out our top 10. That is the 9 rider, Tyler Humphrey. Humphrey now inside the top 10 as we did see that 15 of Cameron Combs down the back straightaway here. Combs almost went for a ride right here himself. My gosh, this was a heck of a save for that 15 ride. Not quite as bad as what we saw earlier, I do believe, for the 12 ride at Josh Bromfield, but still a great save to keep that thing pointed in the right direction. It's Kurt Sponsler Jr., though. He is out in front. He is leading the way here at the beautiful Kansas Speedway, trying to pick up the dub here this evening in the, I do believe, let me make sure I get this right. It is the, I want to make sure I get this right, chat. Where is it? Where is it? All right, here we go. The Todd Cooper Landscaping 300. The Todd Cooper Landscaping 300 here this evening. We want to make sure we definitely get that right. We don't want to get that one wrong. That is for certain. So happy to make sure we get that one right. But for the Todd Cooper Landscaping 300 here this evening, it is the 49 rider, Kurt Sponsler, who leads the way here this evening. Sponsler out in front. He is feeling A-okay. He's feeling definitely good here this evening as our race leader. He is definitely feeling it here today as Corey Crowell now up and into second. Caleb McKinney there in third. Al Reed, Edward Belair, our top 5 out there on the racetrack as Humphrey now nose to tail here and now going side by side as Grant Humphrey sees his twin brother Tyler Humphrey battle back from 2 laps down, back on the lead lap for Tyler, back in front of his twin brother as Tyler Humphrey jumps up into position number 7. Tyler showing he's got a lot of speed here at Kansas Speedway, and he could definitely be a risk for the race win late in this race as these drivers continue to put on just an absolutely amazing show for us, man. This has been a great one here this evening. As Ronnie says, been a great race so far. Chat, when was the last time we've seen these guys really go? You know, what are we at here now? We're at 70, almost 80 laps into a race, and no caution flags for incidents. We've only seen the 2 yellows here for the stage breaks. These guys have been doing a fantastic job. I don't know if the admin group, gave them a certain warning to clean things up or to not make as much chaos out there, but it's been fairly calm. I mean, there's been some good passes. It feels like the intensity is still up, being our second round of the playoffs, but I think being that second round start of our playoffs here this year, I think drivers are maybe a little bit more cordial, especially seeing how many black flags were handed out last week, how many drivers had those early penalties, and how those penalties are really affecting them when you look back at Cameron Combs and James Garland, Brandon Puffenbarger, Anthony Garland, and how much this is kind of hurt their chances of competing and trying to battle for the race win here this evening. it has definitely kind of made a lot of these drivers, I think, a little bit more cordial out there on the speedway. As Kurt Sponsler Jr. will lead another lap. He's got Corey Crowell, one of those drivers that got penalized, went a lap down, raced his way back on the lead lap before the end of that first stage, battled his way up inside the top 5 there by the end of stage number 2, and now late in this race finds himself rolling here in that second spot in that number 2 ride. Caleb McKinney, who won our first and second stage of the day, rolls there in third with Edward Belair back and forth. Al Reed rounding out our top 5 is down across the line. They will complete 80 laps of racing action. So 80 laps are down here in this one. 80 laps completed here this evening, and that means it's time for our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Crank up that volume, cheer on your favorite drivers, and jump into the comment section. Let us know who you want to see pick up the win here today as we crank it up here on Peacemaker. Alrighty, a beautiful crank it up session here this evening as these drivers give us the sights and sounds around the beautiful Kansas Speedway. As here we go, green flag pit stops are underway. The one thing you cannot have is a black flag down pit road. You cannot put yourself in and behind the ball that way. As here we go, Kurt Sponsler, Tyler Humphrey, Al Reed, Edward Belair, all these drivers head down pit side. We see one black flag for the 70 ride of Mike Killingbeck. Too fast entering pit road, and for the 70 of Mike Killingbeck, that will be a tough penalty down pit side. And there's another one. Wayne Garland also gets a black flag. So Wayne Garland and Mike Killingbeck both with penalties down pit side, as we do see Caleb McKinney and Chris Muse now head down pit road. Both drivers down pit side, nice and easy. Here comes Nicholas Barton as well in the 22. Corey Crowell's going to stay out for at least another lap here. This is a big strategy move for the 2 ride. He saved enough fuel. He was able to stretch it a little bit farther than I think a lot of these other drivers were thinking that people would. He now heads down pit road. Just cannot make a mistake down pit side here if you're that 2 rider, Corey Crowell. You may give up a little bit here on the short side of things, but I think being able to make it that extra couple laps makes it so that he's a little bit better on fuel for when it comes to the end of this race. And if you can be that little bit better, and that could really set you up here. When we saw Kurt Sponsler, Edward Belair, Tyler Humphrey, all these drivers come down pit side, they're on lap number 95. That's virtually 30 laps to the checkered flag here. So they can virtually make it right there to the end. That's exactly what they wanted. They hit their number. They can make it to the end, but if they do have to save any fuel, if they do have to wait a little bit at all, that could be the difference between being in a good spot or being in a tough spot late in this race. As we see Corey Crowell done his pit stop, he's able to roll back out there, but now with 2 laps better in that fuel category, that gives him a couple laps better of fuel late in this race where he can be a lot more on the throttle. And even though with a good pit stop here, he's not going to be behind too far. I thought for certain that 2-lap difference would kind of set him back a little bit farther behind these guys, but it looks like he's able to stick right here with them and even taking the race lead away from Kurt Sponsler down pit road. So for Corey Crowell, he is our race leader after our first and potentially only wave of green flag pit stops here in this race. Kurt Sponsler back in second. He'll have to try to battle with him, and we do see Tyler Humphrey up and into third here. Can Humphrey race his way back to the point? Started in that pole position, and an early black flag to have to deal with where he had to come down pit side, serve a penalty down pit road, went 2 laps down, had to wait for the stage breaks, was able to get both lucky dogs and get himself back on the lead lap. And since then, he's been battling his way back up towards the front here, and here he is in third, and he's within striking distance of both Kurt Sponsler and Corey Crowell. So late in this race, and Tyler Humphrey maybe strike and steal this win away as Edward Belair back and forth. Heck of a run for Belair here this evening. Al Reed rolls there in that 5th position with Grant Humphrey, Josh Bromfield, Rob Tuwiscu, Chris Muse there in 9th, and Gary Wright rounding out our top 10 here this evening, as we did just start a brand new goal over on the YouTube stream as well. Ladies and gentlemen, check out that goal. Help us out a little bit. Help us reach that goal. We're going to host a post-race Q&A session here with these drivers. We're going to pull in some of your favorite drivers, allow you guys to ask them some questions and see what their answers are. You know, whether or not it's, personal questions, or maybe it's a racing question if you want to pick their brain about some of the strategy or how they navigate a race like this. Anything that comes to your mind, you can ask these guys. We just got to hit that goal here this evening. If we can hit that goal, we'll do the post-race Q&A session with these amazing Outcast Racing League drivers. As Corey Crowell out in front, the K-West Group number 2 ride leads the way with Kurt Sponsler there in second. Tyler Humphrey sits in position number 3. Edward Belair back and forth with Al Reed rounding out our top 5 here this evening. Grant Humphrey there in 6 as we see Josh Bromfield battling and up and into 7th here. Heck of a rebound for him. We saw him almost go around, almost brought out our first caution flag of the day, as there is our first caution flag for incident. As we're talking about a yellow, there it is, our first caution for incident here this evening, and it looks like it's the 84 ride of Wayne Garland. So Wayne just down on the apron right here, sends it into the corner too far, gets down on the apron, it just pushes the car up the racetrack, he gets into the outside fence, and as he's trying to get off the wall, it just shoots the car around, he goes down towards the inside fence, he's trying to catch it, trying to save it, and the car just keeps hooking to the right, and unfortunately, hard contact up and into the outside fence, and one Garland gonna take out the other Garland as James Garland, nowhere to go, ends up slamming right in to Wayne here this evening. So that's a Garland on Garland crime right there. That is a crime in most states right there, ladies and gentlemen. Garland on Garland right here as James just can't quite avoid Wayne and slams right into him. Heavy left side damage up and into the outside fence. Tons of damage there for both the 84 and the 37 ride. And that's going to put both Garlands down pit road and into a very, very difficult position. And now it really brings the big question in. What do? Do you come down pit road? If you have an extra set of tires, do you use them now? Do you wait a little longer? Do you get more fuel in your race car, making sure that you're good to go, especially if we head to any NASCAR overtime here this evening? That could always be something on the horizon, as Kevin Timmy says, let's go Muse! Moving on up, he says, moving on up is Muse, and now we do see some of these drivers head down pit road, a couple of these cats making pit stops. See Bromfield, Rob Tuwiscu, Devan Black, Gary Wright all head down pit side as my boy Kevin Motherfluffin Timmy, Kevin Timmy coming in, becoming a brand new member of the Peacemaker Sub Club over there on YouTube. Kev, welcome to the Peacemaker Sub Club over here on the YouTube streams. Brother, I know you love watching over there on Twitch. Unfortunately, Twitch just, it wasn't it, man. And Twitch was holding us back so much to be able to up the quality of these streams, be able to up the the bit rate and being able to produce better imagery and better picture for everyone to enjoy these races and see things that much clearer, that much better. We went from virtually streaming on Twitch at 720p to over here on the YouTube where we're kind of right at that 1080p to 1440p area, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to bring you guys such good quality broadcasts here. And unfortunately means that we can't do the multi-stream. Facebook and Twitch, they just don't support that quality of broadcast. So yeah, hey, you moved your sub over, brother. I appreciate that. I absolutely love that, man. I can't thank you enough for your love and support, man. And for Mr. Timmy, man, he's been a supporter here of the Peacemaker broadcast for a long time, man. A long time. I want to say you were over a 2-year sub over there on Twitch. So over a 2-year sub on the Twitch live streams, and now over here on YouTube as well. Absolutely amazing. I appreciate that, my boy. I appreciate that, brother. Now you get yourself some cool emotes over here as well. We do plan on getting more and more emotes here as well for all the members to be able to enjoy and use in the broadcast as well. We want to get some animated ones as well for, green flags and caution flags and crank it up and everything else. So we'll be working on those. We'll be getting those created and getting some really cool emotes here into the YouTube stream as well for everyone to enjoy. As Kevin Timmy says, all good, more people over here. Yeah, more people over here. Yeah, and yeah, he was AKA Bubba 91171 over there on Twitch. Make sure you guys go check him out too. I don't know if you still stream or not. I know you were doing a couple streams there for a little bit there, Kev. So make sure you head over there and check out Bubba as well. So we love that. As here we go, back to green flag racing is down across the line. 106 laps completed. 19 laps left to go here this evening. 19 laps left to duke it out as Corey Crowell has the race lead. Tyler Humphrey squeezes his way up into second. Kurt Sponsler slides into third as here comes Al Reed, Edward Belair, the 99 of Chris Muse there in 6th. He's looking for a little bit more though as he's trying to work that Fastenal ride back inside the top 5. Grant Humphrey there in 7th as we see Casey Gross, Rob Tuwiscu, and Johnny Thunders rounding out our top 10. And now normally cautions breed cautions. And we've only seen one caution flag for incident here this evening. The last yellow flag was the only wreck that we have seen here in this one, as Mr. Timmy says, ish here and there. A little bit American Truck Simulator. Oh, baby, we missed American Truck Sim. I haven't done that in a while. We may have to break out a few of those, man. We may have to break out a few of those. My winter holidays are kind of getting fired off here, so I'm going to have a lot more time to kind of do things midday, and we may have to start doing some more American Truck Sim. You know, maybe some Call of Duty streams, some Battlefield streams, maybe trying out some other games as well. A lot of community games for our sub-club members, including Timmy here this evening. Mr. Bubba in the chat. We'll have to get him in for some of those as well. And maybe some other things as well, other games as well that we haven't tried out. It'll be fun to kind of get into some of these other streams and see if we can try to get linked up with some other streamers and see if we can get some really cool content being created here, not only just in iRacing, but also for other stuff as well. As Corey Crowell with the race lead, the laps are clicking down. He's got 0.7 of a second between himself and that 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey. So Humphrey, who rolls in position number 2 on the Speedway, the must-love Poodles machine. Does he have anything left in the tank? Can he find that extra gear? Can he find that extra little bit of a drive to try to jump up here and battle with that 2 ride for what could be the race win here this evening? Kurt Sponsler Jr. right there in that 3rd position, having himself a strong day here at Kansas Speedway. To see Al Reed in 4th, Chris Muse up and into that 5th position. Has Edward Belair right there with him. Belair scrapes the outside fence back in that 6th position as Grant Humphrey, the 2nd must-love Poodles ride out there on the Speedway, rolls there in 7th. But here comes Casey Gross. Here comes that 12 rider Josh Bromfield. They're reeling him in as well. They're looking to try to join the battle as here comes Rob Tuwisku back in that 10th position. Johnny Thunder's in 11th. Caleb McKinney all the way back here in 12th. I'm not sure what happened to Caleb McKinney, but he dropped back like a rock. And unfortunately for Caleb, he's just not had the second half of this race that I think he was really hoping for. 1-2 stages, just has not been able to get the runs that he's needed here late in this race. And unfortunately for the 76, back in that 12th spot on the Speedway. Billy Jordan there in 13th with Devan Black in 14th. Gary Wright running at our top 15 is Nicholas Barton and Mike Killingback. They're in position number 16 and 17, I do believe, for Barton and Killingback. They're both 1 lap down. Anthony Garland, he finds himself a couple laps down here. So isn't Cameron Combs. Brandon Puffenbarger a few more laps down as James Garland, Wayne Garland, and Joshua Benton rounding out the field here. But out in front is still all Corey Crowell, man. As Must-Love Poodle says, impressive run for Tyler Humphrey. A very impressive run for Humphrey. Impressive run for Corey Crowell as well. Not only to be able to go a lap down, race his way back on a lead lap, and keep himself on the lead lap there throughout that first stage. Just keeping his day alive. His lookout caution flag is back out. Caleb McKinney's tied up in it. The 60 of Johnny Thunders. There's the 16 of Gary Wright. He's in the middle of it in Edward Belair. Belair was having such a solid day here this evening at Kansas Speedway. And unfortunately for the MMG ride, looks like it may come to a early and broken left rear side here. Let's take a look back and see how this gets started. As you see, oh man, tough hits here, tough hits. Looks like maybe some contact down the front straightaway between Belair and the 99 rider Chris Muse right there. See if we can get another look at it as they're coming off the wall out of the tri-oval here. And unfortunately for Edward Belair, he's kind of coming up. The 99 trying to stay out of the fence, and Belair's just going to drive up into that left rear quarter panel of the 99 ride. Ben kind of gets him out of shape, shoots down the racetrack, hits the apron, and the car just washes back up the Speedway, slides up into that outside fence. It's a big hit right there for him. Into the outside wall, and then all of a sudden, Grant Humphrey, just nowhere to go for Grant here. Heavy right front damage there for the 48 ride as he gets into that 25 ride. And then from that point on, it's on like Donkey Kong. 25 pointing the wrong direction. Here comes Johnny Thunders. Nowhere to go. Slams right into that driver's side door. Heavy contact there for him. And then Caleb McKinney slides right in there. Hard contact into the back end of that 60 ride. That was a big hit there for Caleb McKinney. Big hit for Johnny Thunders. And and that's going to put a few more of these cats down pit road and into a very, very difficult position late in this race, as they'll be looking to get some repairs. They'll be trying to get their cars fixed up, as we do see Caleb McKinney busted up right front here. He's going to hit his pit stall. He's got to hope he's got that quick repair still in his back pocket. Luckily enough, he does, so he's able to continue on here in this race. Gary Wright's down pit side. Billy Jordan's down pit road. We did see Cameron Combs, Edward Belair, who's got the damage, now down a couple laps here. He's down pit side. Puffenbarger, James Garland, Wayne Garland, they're all down pit road here. And I do believe for Grant Humphrey, the right front damage, it looked like it was going to be bad. You do see a bit of contact and indentation here, obviously in that right front, but he must feel that that damage isn't bad enough. Let's take a look here. Doesn't seem like it's unbalanced or weeble-wobbling or anything else, so it looks like hopefully not any major catastrophic issues here. For the 48 ride, hopefully just cosmetic and nothing with suspension or handling of that front right, and trying to keep himself in the battle here this evening. We'll have to keep an eye on that, especially on the restart when he starts getting a load onto that right front. But for right now, he's sticking with it. He's going to roll out in that 8th position and hope to gain a few more spots here. But for Corey Crowell, he sees his lead evaporate and late in this race. Going to bring another restart. Brings Tyler Humphrey, brings Kurt Sponsler, Al Reed, and Chris Muse right back to his rear bumper as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. We get ready to set them loose once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You came here for a show. Well, here you go is our fourth caution flag of the day. Late in this race, going to bring us a late race restart, and we may not be done here. This may be only one of multiple, final, single-digit restart laps here for these drivers. As they go back to Green Flag Racing, it should be an 8-lap shootout. 8-lap shootout here to finish this one off, finding more caution laps, more yellows, NASCAR overtime here this evening. But for the 2-rider, Corey Crowell, he'll be looking to hang on to it and keep these drivers back there at bay. For Tyler Humphrey, Kurt Sponsler, Al Reed, and the rest of the field, they'll be looking to try to steal the win away from them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cheer on your favorite driver, as this may be their last chance to try and find victory lane here this evening as the green flag back out into the air. Green flag is back out as Corey Crowell with a good jump, a good restart. Tyler Humphrey right there in second, trying to hang with them, trying to stick with them. Knows he needs to keep his foot in the throttle. Knows he needs to keep that gap to a minimum, but down and out of corner number 2 for Corey Crowell opens up a pretty decent lead here. A few car lengths down into corner number 3 between himself and Tyler Humphrey, but Humphrey is giving it everything he's got. He's trying to get this must-love Poodles ride to the front of the field, wanting to put himself into a position to at least have a shot at the race win here this evening. So is in Kurt Sponsler and Al Reed, as we do see Josh Bromfield now work his way into that 5th position. Chris Muse slides back into 6th as here comes Grant Humphrey. Here comes that 77 of Casey Gross. The 7-rider Devan Black rounding out our top 9, and Gary Wright now rounding out our top 10 as Rob Tuwisco, Billy Jordan, Caleb McKinney there in 13th. Johnny Thunders and Nicholas Barton our top 15 with Mike Killingbeck, Cameron Combs, Anthony Garland, Edward Belair, Brandon Puffenbarger, James Garland, Wayne Garland, and Joshua Benton rounding out the field here this evening. But out in front, continuing to lead the way and continuing to try and pull away, is this number 2 of Corey Crowell. Crowell just continues to lay down good lap times, good quick lap times. And the last time around for our top 3, they all laid down their quickest lap of this race. Unfortunately for Tyler Humphrey and Kurt Sponsler, their quickest laps were still slower than our race leader Corey Crowell. And for Crowell, he's using it to his advantage to keep this gap and to continue to pull farther and farther away. As only 5 laps left to go, the gap is now half a second between Crowell and Mr. Humphrey, as the must-love Poodles Landesco, number 9 ride. The Isabel's Impact number 9 machine back in second. He's got a lot of our sponsors on board with him here. He's wanting to try to find victory lane and punch his ticket into our Championship 8 at Daytona in just a few more weeks here this evening. As oh man, for the 9 ride, that would mean the world to him. But for Corey Crowell to be able to work his way obviously up and into that championship race again, that would be the dream here for the 2 ride as Corey Crowell, nice and easy, down and out of corner number 4, back down across the line. It's only 3 laps left to go. 3 more laps left in this one as Adam Humphrey says, "Go Humphrey, boys!" Cheering on Tyler Humphrey and Grant Humphrey here this evening as Tyler trying to reel him in. The gap is now 0.3 of a second. He's been faster the last 2 laps, but is he running out of time? He's really got to find something here in these closing laps. Only a couple laps left to go. It's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to complete the pass and steal the win away from him. For Corey Crowell, just trying to keep this couple car lengths as they head down and across the start-finish line. It is 2 laps left to go. 2 laps left to go. 8 more corners of racing action here this evening for the Outcast Racing League as I do believe Todd Cooper Landscaping 300 quickly coming to a close as they head down into corner number 3. The 9 ride reels in our race leader, that 2 machine of Corey Crowell as he exits corner number 4, back down and across the line. The white flag will be displayed one more time around here for Corey Crowell. It's a battle between him and the 9 of Tyler Humphrey. Do we see a bump and run? Does Tyler Humphrey give him a shot in the shorts and try to seal this win away, knowing it has an automatic ticket into our championship race? Crowell blocks the bottom lane. The 9 rider Humphrey tries to send it in there deep for the final time, down through 3 and out of corner number 4. Humphrey's looking to get there, looks out to the inside, but can't get there as Corey Crowell will pick up the checkered flag here from Kansas Speedway. Corey Crowell gets the win and pulls himself up and into the Kansas Speedway victory lane. Tyler Humphrey will come home in second, and Kurt Sponsler will round out our top 3 here this evening. Josh Bromfield will come home in 4th. Al Reed, our top 5. Chris Muse, a great 6th place finish with Casey Gross, Grant Humphrey, Devan Black, and Billy Jordan, our top 10 here this evening. But it's all Corey Crowell as he'll get ready to celebrate here on the front straightaway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for our race winner, Corey Crowell. Gets it done here in this one and picks up the checkered flag. Woo, baby! What a burnout, what a race, what a run, man. This was an absolutely amazing show. We'll get ready to pull our top 3 up and into the booth here. Post-race interviews coming up next. Alrighty, post-race interviews coming up here. For our top 3, we'll get these drivers into the booth. They'll get ready to spill the beans and how they're feeling, how this race went, and what's kind of on their mind here after an amazing feature event here this evening. Hey Corey, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
I do, Aaron. What's going on?
Not much, Corey, man. What a run, what a race, what a performance for you here this evening. Obviously, early on, having to serve a penalty, having to make that pass-through penalty in the opening laps. You come out, you go a lap down, but showing the raw speed out of this 2 ride right out of the get-go as you race your way back up and around that 15 of Cameron Combs to put yourself onto the lead lap and stay there throughout that first stage and keeping your day alive right there. Not falling behind, not putting yourself a lap down, and you're able to just use that momentum to drive you forward through that second stage. You end up earning stage points, and then all of a sudden here in this final run, it's all down to those final pit stops and that final call to whether or not come down pit road, stay out there on the racetrack. You stay out, you gotta hit these restarts and keep Tyler Humphrey, Sponsler, and the rest of the field back there at bay is somehow or another from what looked to be a very tough start of this race to a very good finish for you as you come home with the checkered flag here at Kansas Speedway and lock yourself yourself in to our Championship 8 at Daytona in a couple weeks' time, man. Take us back through it and how you're feeling picking up the dub here this evening.
Yeah, I had that penalty drive through. That was fine. I wasn't in agreement with some of the other ones that had penalties. That's hopefully being addressed in the off season. But no, yeah, had the penalty. Came back. I was right behind Cam as the leader, so I was a lap down. I was able to get back in front of him and just sit there. Stage came out, took tires, kind of cruised around, worked my way up to, I believe, 5th at the end of stage 2, so got some stage points, and then some looked like some unfortunate events on some of them pitting. I think Caleb missed the entry to pit road, so kind of was cool with that. I caught wind of, I think Tyler missed his box, so that helped. Puff was giving me some insight on that, and then came out from the green flag stops, was side by side with Kurt. Kurt ran a hell of a race. Good job on him on that one. But yeah, side by side, I was able to etch out in front of him, get that clean air, and just run. Thought we had her in the bag during that long green flag. That caution, I don't know. I'm confused on it, but yeah, we stayed up front and we got our win.
Yeah, absolutely. And making that final pit stop, obviously fuel always in the back of your guys' mind. I know fuel is going to be a little bit tight here throughout that final run, and you're able to save enough while still being up inside that top 3, top 5, and you stretch out that final pit stop there by a couple more laps compared to, Tyler Humphrey and that 49 rider Kurt Sponsler. Do you think maybe just have that couple laps extra worth of fuel and tire could have been the difference maker here late in the race, and just being able to manage that gap and not allowing Humphrey to really battle or trying to take away this race win?
Yeah, absolutely. I saved up to where I could literally run wide open, without having to save that last stint. So I stayed out, I believe, 2 or 3, maybe even 3 laps longer than everybody else. I was banking on the long run of it. Once I got out, I kind of just continued to run as fast as I could by maintaining tires at the same time. Then the cautions came out, and I don't know if maybe I pushed too hard, too much during the long run, but Tyler was fast. He was there. He had to work through the back just like I did. He came from 2-3 laps down at the beginning of the race anyway. I do believe it was benefited. I'm glad I know how to save.
Yeah, absolutely. Saving and winning is what you do here, and another dub for you, another ticket into the championship race. How you feeling knowing that you're going to be going to Daytona and being able to try to battle there for 200 laps, a long one, but at the end of it, maybe in the right place, the right time to potentially pick up the championship here on the season.
Yeah, I'm not here to screw around no more. Not here to make friends. I'm here to race. I'm here to win. So I'm gonna start doing at least as much as I possibly can. Do everything that I possibly can to put myself in the position to win. Ending a season, Daytona, I already know how that goes. There's 2 seasons in a row where I was fighting for a championship and get destroyed on the last lap. So hopefully that changes this year. So we'll look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be another amazing show, another amazing race there at Daytona. As you said, those final laps there, obviously in Daytona, especially that white flag lap. Every year it seems like it's just chaos and mayhem, and it's just always a surprise on who comes out of it, with that race win and who comes out of it with the championship, as you just never quite know. You could be the 8th highest running driver in that championship 8. You could be at the rear of the field and everyone in front of you wrecks out, and you just kind of squeeze right on through there and steal the championship away. It's kind of the way it's been playing out here for a couple of years now in those final laps at Daytona. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interesting, but you get the first ticket into the show, into the battle for that championship, Corey. We got obviously one more race in between there. We'll see you hopefully back out there next Sunday battling for another win, or trying to help, any of your teammates or any of the other guys that you want into that championship 8 to kind of be there with you and trying to see if you can help them out a little bit next Sunday. But man, hell of a run, hell of a drive here in this one as you park that 2 ride back up and into victory lane. Corey, who would you like to thank for another great race and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, so I want to thank you for the broadcast. You're doing an outstanding job. Keep it up. I want to thank my teammates at Mars. They help out a lot. I want to thank Shenko Custom Diecast and Designs. What Colton does for us is tremendous. We appreciate for everything that he does. And yeah, that'd be it. Thanks.
Well, Corey, heck of a run, heck of a drive, man. Congratulations on the win here this evening at Kansas Speedway, man. We'll get you back out there, hopefully right back up and into the broadcast booth next Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Corey Crowell. As we get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 9 ride, it's Tyler Humphrey. Tyler comes home in second. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Tyler, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Tyler, man, another great run, another great race for you, man. Obviously, a fast hot rod. You qualified on the pole here this evening, but you had to serve the early race penalty. And as you did, that, obviously, green flag pit stop plus the 30-second hold. You come out of there 2 laps down, and you got to try to hunt down, I do believe it was the 37 of James Garland to really put yourself back into that lucky dog position. And just before that first stage comes to a close, you're able to make the pass there on that 37 of James Garland to put yourself into the lucky dog spot. And luckily enough, it puts you back to only 1 lap down. You got to wait until the end of stage number 2 to get another caution flag. You're still in the lucky dog spot, even though you'd raced your way up into about that 3rd position on the racetrack. You finally get the wave around that you needed. Back on the lead lap. Now you got half a race left to go, and here you are, navigating your way through that traffic, putting yourself into a position late in this race to battle for the race win. Unfortunately, just not quite enough there at the end to get Corey Crowell, but coming from 2 laps down to come home in second, man, you got to be pretty pumped up about how this race played out.
Yeah, I don't know whether to be really excited or super frustrated. Yeah, everybody was supposed to have that 30-second hold that was displayed in your penalty report, and it turned into a 55-second hold and completely ruined my race. I thought I was fuming, and I was already mad for the penalty this week. I accepted my penalty, but I was just frustrated. I was here to prove a point, and then I got that 55-second, and that just about ruined my day right there, man. So, yeah, we went 2 laps down, and I was just like, I barely came out ahead of the leaders. So I was like frustrated and just trying to stay ahead of them, and I slowly watched that my car get farther and farther away, and then get smaller in that mirror, and I was like, okay, maybe I have something. And I was looking at my relatives, seeing where James, and I noticed that I could see him, and I was like 10 seconds back, and throughout stage 1, I caught him, and then I got up to him, and I mean, valiant effort by him. He blocked the ever-living hell out of me, but we finally got around him. We got our, 1 lap back at the end of stage 1. Then we drove through it in stage 2. We, started at the back of the pack because of when you get a lap back, when you get that wave around, it puts you in the back. So we drove through the field. I mean, I don't know if I've ever had that much fun being in 18th place, just driving through the field, but it was a lot of fun. I felt the speed. I was like, man, this goes well in stage 3. I could have a win here and really capitalize on a horrible day, in all honesty. So, but just a little short. But I mean, being 2 laps down, dang near 3 laps down, I don't know if I could be too frustrated with that. So I'm really proud of the effort. We never gave up today. I watched all my teammates have a great run today. Mike, Ed, Devan, Grant. I mean, all those guys had a great run today. I'm just, I got to look at the positives and move away from today. Just happy with how the race ended, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely got to count your blessings where you can them. I do believe out of the drivers there that went 2 laps down in this race, you're the only one that got a lap back there in this one. So getting that wave around, getting that lucky dog back on the lead lap, especially with the minimal yellow flags here throughout the first 100 laps of this race, really just solidifying their days is not the runs that I think they were hoping for. When you look at Anthony Garland, even Cameron Combs with his issues there at the end of that first stage, going 2 laps down, they were just never able to get themselves back into it, never able to get back into the battle. But for yourself, you were able to rebound, drive through that adversity, and put yourself up here into a second place run. Tyler, man, it was a hell of a show and a hell of a race for you, man. Who would you like to thank for another impressive performance here at Kansas Speedway?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to say I'm so heartbroken for those other guys that got that penalty. I think they all had a chance at having a good day, and the penalties just screwed them up today. I don't think anybody really got a 30-second penalty like they're supposed to. It was all a little bit more. 55. I think I saw an 85-second hold. I mean, that's just a day ender right there, and I'm just heartbroken for those guys. So, yeah, I mean, it just sucks. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to thank the league for putting this on every week, the admins, you for the broadcast. I mean, super awesome. Tampa Motorsports, Mike, Grant, Ed, Devan, all those guys. Chris and Anthony both practiced with me a little bit this week over on Poor Boy Motorsports, so I appreciate them doing that. Yeah, Muscle of Poodles, the Bar Distillery, Isabel's Impact, Landesco, everybody out there watching. I don't know, just a really nice run today. Not a lot of cautions. Yeah, I'll just end the stay happy.
Absolutely, brother. You got to count your blessings where you can get them here. And with a second place run, battling back and putting yourself up here onto the podium was definitely a great day and something to definitely be happy about, because it could have been a whole lot worse. You could have given up after that 55-second hold, but you stuck with it, didn't give up, and you find yourself up here rounding out our top 2 this afternoon. So hell of a job, hell of a race, and we can't wait to see you back in action hopefully next week without a black flag penalty to start the race, and hopefully able to just duke it out with Corey and the rest of this field for the race win next week, and obviously trying to advance yourself into the championship race at Daytona in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I can't wait to be back next week. I'll see you guys then.
Absolutely. Tyler, enjoy the rest of your night, and congrats again on the second place run. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for the 9 rider, Tyler Humphrey. Humphrey comes home in position number 2. Solid run there for that 9 machine as we get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, the 49. It's Kurt Sponsler Jr. Let's get Kurt in here to the broadcast booth. Hey, Kurt, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Kurt, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening. It seemed like you were definitely had this place figured out. That car was very, very stout here throughout this race, obviously leading some laps, being out in front, battling here at the end for, not only this top 3, but in the contention for a race win here this afternoon. And be feeling pretty good knowing that you get another good run, another good performance like this, and trying to extend your chances and trying to give yourself a golden opportunity to try to battle for this year's championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much ESR came together. We all worked to help me get ready for Kansas and figure out tires and how much we could work with as far as fuel goes. And at first it was a little scary. I was having frame rate issues, and thankfully once the green flag actually dropped the first time, I was getting good frames and it was smooth like butter and felt like I was much faster too. So took chances with people who it's a little spooky and trying to get around, and got a little shook up a couple times, but never got touched or anything. I got out of it with a 0x and phenomenal finishes in stage 1 and 2, and pulled away with a podium finish at the end.
Yeah, a very strong podium finish, a very strong race for you here tonight, obviously with some stout competition all around you, and it could have been a little bit better. Obviously, we saw Corey Crowell and Humphrey having to battle back from adversity with the black flags early on, but here you are just being able to kind of duke it out with them late in this race, knowing that you didn't want to make a mistake mistake and hurt your chances or hurt their chances here at a good finish. But at the same point in time, how aggressive do you want to be there in those closing restarts, knowing that a win locks your way in to that championship in Daytona in a couple weeks?
So I was definitely on my mind. I wanted to push a little harder to stay with Corey and Tyler, but I felt the car get a little bit loose coming out of 2 a couple of times, and that was like pushing it, trying to stay with Tyler. And I thought I'd rather finish 3rd than last from, taking myself out. So the decision was made to just keep the car steady and in control and at least take 3rd.
Absolutely. Sometimes that risk versus reward just isn't quite good enough, and you settle in there for that 3rd position. You're able to hold off Bromfield and your teammate Al Reed as you round out our podium here this evening at Kansas Speedway. Kurt, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this evening?
Of course, as always, you for putting on these broadcasts, and Outcast Racing League for putting this all together. Also want to do a huge shout out to Todd Cooper Landscaping. That's my father-in-law's business, our sponsor for today. Thank my teammates, ESR, for helping me through this season and especially in the playoffs. I want a big thank you to my friends that were watching at home, as well as my parents, and as well as all of our sponsors that have been with us along the way this season.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Kurt, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this afternoon. Congratulations on the podium run here in the Todd Cooper Landscaping 300, and we look forward to seeing you back in action next Sunday with a chance to potentially lock your way into that Championship 8.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, brother.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Kurt Sponsler Jr. As that is our top 3, our post-race interviews concluding here this evening after what was a heck of a run, a heck of a drive, and some absolutely amazing performances from these drivers as they put on an incredible show for us here this evening. 4 caution flags, and 2 of them were for our stage breaks, so virtually only 2 yellows for incidences here this evening. That is almost unheard of here over the last few weeks. It seems like it's been a myth, a fairy tale, a farce thing that you could just think of in a fictional storybook. But man, tonight these guys came in, stepped up, showed up, and put on an absolutely incredible show for us, racing their hearts out, but putting on an absolutely incredible battle lap after lap after lap for us. Man, you can feel that intensity was up there, but everyone just running with some good, hard, clean respect, man, and putting together an absolutely amazing race. We can't thank all these amazing drivers for putting on a great show for us and battling their hearts out here this evening at Kansas Speedway. We got 2 races left to go here in the season. For some, next week, it's going to be a little bit more intense. It's going to be a little bit tougher, knowing that either they want to keep their points and keep themselves in a good position to advance into that Championship 8, or for 4 drivers that are on the outside looking in, they're going to be really trying to push here and trying to make sure that they gain as many points as possible and trying to put themselves into contention to transfer through and in to that championship race in 2 weeks' time, which is going to be an absolutely amazing show, and we can't wait to see everybody there. Unfortunately, though, here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, the show has come to an end. The racing action has concluded. We will be back here in the booth, though, later tonight, and a couple hours from now, we'll be back up here into the broadcast booth with some more amazing racing action, as we got dirt late model action coming up next for you, and going to be another great show, another great race, and we can't wait to see you guys back in the grandstands cheering these guys on. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. Hit that sub button. Become part of the party here this afternoon. And make sure you guys jump into the comment section. Let us know what you thought of the broadcast. Tell us who you wanted to win, who you wanted to see get a good run, or just congratulate your favorite driver on their incredible drive or the tough breaks that they've had here this evening. And we can't wait to see you guys back here in the grandstands later this afternoon. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we'll see y'all in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. peace, and love. And huge shout out to my boy Kevin Timmy again as well, becoming the newest member of the Peacemaker Sub Club over there on YouTube. Hit that join button as well. Hit the join button. I do believe it's cheaper than a Big Mac or a Happy Meal at McDonald's. Become part of the Peacemaker Members Club. Get exclusive content. Get exclusive emotes and badges, and help support these broadcasts each and every single week. And we can't wait to see you guys back here for the next race. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all back here in just a little bit.
Radio check, check, 1, 2, radio check. Still. From the bottom to the corner, lane up through the trial zone. Not sure why we did that. I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody get to the bottom. Maybe we should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down, man. Somebody's got it right in front of me. Come on, come on, come on.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs your line. It's Kurt Sponsler will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland is leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done.